Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here on the Trapline, still playing warm weather in December. Not quite sure what to do with that. Got the old hound dog out here smelling around. Headed up to the badger den set. I didn't see any coyotes jumping from a distance, but I want to make sure we don't have an animal trapped and then it crawled down that hole like a little possum. So I come to you today with a couple stories of, well, I'll tell one for sure, of a trapline dog and why you should tolerate their dumb ass getting caught in the fence, possibly getting caught in your trap, knocking your traps down, and training them. Several years ago, a friend of mine went trapping with me, and I told him to set a trap on a sandbar where I was setting coyote traps over by the creek to catch some raccoon before they stumbled in to my coyote traps. And he did. And then he wired it off to a big willow tree. I say big, about 3-4 inches around, sufficient to hold a raccoon. And it was several feet above the bank where he wired off. So I start checking the sets, and then nothing. I don't see anything. And then a couple, 3 days go by, and we get some snow. And I start thinking, I don't really know exactly where that trap is. And so I go down there, and I see that willow had been completely chewed off, and the trap was MIA, and probably had been MIA for more than a day. So I started looking around, and underneath the light snow and the sand, I could see some drag marks, and I trailed them as long as I could. And as I was trailing it and about ready to give up, I look up and I see a big old coyote about 75 yards ahead of me in a clearing, cutting across to some cover. And I knew that was the coyote, but I also knew I couldn't do it. I needed a dog. At the time, I hadn't applied any of my dogs to chasing wildlife. So I started training the dogs, O-Dog, that coyotes are not our friends. Took her out on many trap runs and let her fight a few coyotes in the trap to understand that they're not friendly. And we just made it up here to the badger set. No activity, trap's not fired. We appreciate that, good Lord. So, back to my story. So, then you go back a couple years. It was actually probably about a year ago, maybe a little longer. And I'm trapped in that same area. And I know that there's heavy coyote presence down in there. And so I better really take my time and put in a good anchor and make sure it's good. So I pick like a 3-foot piece of 1/2-inch rebar, and I anchor double long spring number 3 Bridger trap. So about 2 days go by with no activity. The third day, again, we got a little snow, and I go down there and there's a giant ass mess where my set was. I can tell something was caught, and I see about 20 yards away from the set this long piece of rebar. So I know it's got my big old double long spring on it, and I know it can't be too far. So I call up a friend of mine, and I grab, at the time I had 2 dogs, I grab my dogs and I meet him back out there, and I take the dogs down to the trap set, and I turn O-Dog loose, and O-Dog takes after up through the willows trailing this coyote. So she starts barking, and she very, very rarely barks, unlike Conehead here. She very rarely barked, and so when she started barking, I told my partner she's on it. So I get off the side of the riverbank so I can look down the river as she's running up the riverbank, and I see a coyote standing on a ledge looking at me, looking at the river with my trap on its front paw. So the coyote decides to jump. So he jumps in the river, and the river is a little deeper there than most areas, and he has to swim. So I holler at my pard, have O-Dog come back over there. She sees this situation. I know we're gonna have to shoot him before she gets on him, or we're not gonna be able to shoot him because she's gonna be tangled up with him. So she starts swimming to him. We try to shoot him twice in the lungs as he's swimming, and we see blood floating in the water. And one thing leads to another, and O-Dog catches up with him right at the bank. Sorry, I got a text message, somebody needing trapping advice. Right at the bank. Well, this coyote was a very large female, as was O-Dog, both mature. O-Dog was over 10 years old. she grabs a hold of this coyote. They go underwater, and when they come up, that coyote has a hold of her head, one jaw on top and one jaw under the bottom. And she shakes her head off, steps back a couple steps, and looks at me, and the coyote's just sitting there foaming blood at the mouth. So she steps back, and me and my pard had to take an opportunity, and we put 2 more shots in its lungs. Well, the coyote, once it started flopping, O-Dog grabs a hold of it by the neck and takes off swimming back across the river, trying to bring it to us. I knew there was no possible way she was going to be able to do this because this coyote was too big, the current was the wrong way, and it was freezing cold outside. So O-Dog gives up about halfway through. The coyote is in the middle of the river in about 3 foot of water, but it's not moving down current very quickly. So we get O-Dog out of the water, and I got to strip down butt naked and go out and get this damn coyote that my dog's already fought. And this is all witnessed by my friend. So there was some shrink factor going on, but I just thought about that damn coyote and how bad I wanted it, and I'd do it again today. And that story lives on in my heart forever. So, you know, tolerating these trap dogs is sometimes a big ass pain. I mean, they get into everything. But we lost O-Dog yesterday, and I don't know, man. That shit sucks. So I just wanted to put up this video and let you know it's worth the time and the effort you put in to have those memories. Enjoy your day.